I love you. Welcome back to the Couch Potatoes, to another riveting episode of this show. I don't want to steal the title from you. I am the Green Faceless from... I am the Green Faceless? Jesus, I'm an
Why
amateur
did I even
today.
get out of the bed?
Why
Why did I get out of the bed? Okay, all right. We'll keep that, but we're going to try again. Go ahead. We'll take two.
Take two. I love you. Thank you, guys. Welcome back to the Couch Potatoes. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leone. I was going to start off saying I am the Confuddled Leone, but you seem a bit more confuddled than I am.
Apparently, man. Like, yeah. We hit record and my brain just shut off completely.
I had a vaccine yesterday, and it kind of put me on my ass a little bit more than I thought it would. Mostly it just made it really difficult for me to sleep last night with the hot and cold, and I'm just feeling very off today. But I'm here to record the potato pick for you guys who
yes,
that this was suggested to us by Doc Mike and Don Callahan.
Almost did it to yourself again there.
Yeah, we're going to cut that out. We're going to cut that bit out.
No,
we'll keep the first bit and we'll cut that bit out.
Indeed. Yes, thank you for this pick. It is a very unique one today.
Yeah.
You called it a Michelle Williams spotlight.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree with you. It definitely is a good spotlight of her acting performances. Two really good ones here. We got The Station Agent way back in 2003, and Manchester by the Sea in 2016.
Yes.
I saw Manchester by the Sea when it came out. Absolutely wrecked me. I had not seen Station Agent, so I was pretty excited, especially when I looked up the cast for it. But I will say it's I'm gonna change it a little bit. I think it works better, only because Michelle Williams is really famous for being a supporting actor. She is in a lot of supporting roles. She's absolutely phenomenal at that job. All the roles that I can think of that she's in is a supporting role. With the exception of Dawson's Creek. I guess you can consider her a main character in Dawson's Creek.
Okay. I haven't seen that. So
it's one of my parents' favorite shows. They've watched it probably 10 plus times.
I know she's gotten a lot of accolades. I know her more by her name than her work because, honestly, there's just less of it for her than other actors.
Yeah, and she's also, she got wrapped up in the Heath Ledger drama, being the mother of his child when he passed. And so, like, there's a lot that goes around her life that's not mostly focused on her work. It's like the roles she's played. It's no longer it's no longer every single job. It's like, oh yeah, she's the lady from Dawson's Creek, or she's Heath Ledger's wife. But she does so many good supporting character roles, and I do agree that it's a good choice, a good actor spotlight. I think this also works as a genre smackdown too. As a psychological dramas.
Sure.
One's a little more comedy heavy than the other one, but they both do still focus on the mental side of being caged in, being walled off from society. So it's like it works in both ways, I think. I just think it works better as a genre smackdown because Michelle Williams, sadly, is, as we talked about before this, she's barely in both of these films.
She is. I counted the scenes. I'm pretty sure that there's... Well, you think that there... I didn't, count as well for Manchester by the Sea. I will be honest. But I think
you're right in matter of talking scenes.
Yes.
In matter of talking scenes, I think you're right.
Yeah, she talks in, I believe, only 3 scenes in this movie. And then in The Station Agent, she's in about 6 scenes. I think maybe 7, actually. And either way, I feel like her character has about equal weight in what's going on in the story. If not a little bit more for Manchester by the Sea, just because of the close relationship her character has to the main character. But I'm getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. But
you're right.
I think what the easiest thing to do is to talk about the movie first and then jump back and talk about Michelle Williams' roles in them.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. Do you want me to take Station Agent, or would you rather I take Manchester by the Sea?
Why don't you take Manchester by the Sea? I'll do Station Agent.
Alrighty.
So
take her away then, Ern.
I'm a pretty big Dinklage fan. I'm a big dinker, you can say.
Is that what his fans are called?
I don't know. I doubt it. But I do love...
It's a little close to an Irish slur, so I don't hope not.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Peter. I'm a big fan. And Finbar McBride is a big fan of trains. And
that's right.
He works in a train model shop and under Henry Styles, and that's played by Paul Benjamin. He is only in the first maybe 10-15 minutes of the film. That just enough to this status to establish the status quo of Finbar's life. He goes by Finn, but I love Finbar.
I know, it's a good name. It really is a good name.
I like it a lot. Suddenly one day, Henry dies. He's an older man. And he leaves... he even lives... Finn even lives in the shop with the man. It's like two apartments that are attached to the shop. And when he dies, Henry leaves him a spot of land in... what's it called again? Shit. It's in New Jersey. Newfoundland, New Jersey. That's right.
Yeah.
And he meets his lawyer. Man, I can't remember who the lawyer's name is, but it's Richard Kind. Important. It's Richard Kind. That's what I wanted to remember. Anyways, Richard Kind.
I do remember because he's in everything.
Yeah, yeah. Richard Kind is across the table from him and is like, it's beautiful country out there, but there is shit all to do. And that's pretty much accurate of Newfoundland.
And kind of also what Finn was looking for.
Yeah. He didn't maybe know. He came, and what was left to him was this little train depot, and a few train cars.
Yeah.
And so he moves in because, they're selling the shop that he lives in. So.
Right. Yeah, it's already closed and everything. Right. He's got no job anymore.
Yeah. So
really sad.
It is, but he's retired.
That's true. Yeah, he is. Yeah, as he says. I do like it though, because it's like he goes out there seeking just the peace and solitude. Once he gets out there, he's like, this is going to be fine. Yeah. He's like, I can hermit myself away from the world like fucking crazy.
Right. Except for the fact that Joe Oramos has a truck, a coffee/hot dog truck outside his train depot. And he keeps it just for his dad, who is ill. He apparently was living in Manhattan.
Right, and Joe, by the way, is played by Bobby Cannavale.
Oh, thank you.
Who, who, in my opinion, was the saving grace of this movie. This movie doesn't need a saving grace; it's already really good. But like Bobby Cannavale's humor, like that he adds to this whole film, made this film so fucking enjoyable.
Yes. He he's just such a confident, kind-hearted person. Like he just wants friends. I love it.
Yeah. He really does. and not like friends like what he would normally be hanging out with, because like they show the people that consider him friends. Mm-hmm. And like and he doesn't like get along with them because they're all kind of rude and like they treat when they see Finn because of course Peter Dinklage
is a little person.
What's the appropriate a little person? Thank you. I couldn't remember what the appropriate term is anymore.
This movie is a little bit older. The movie calls him
one thing.
They use the term dwarf in the movie.
Yeah. And I couldn't remember if that. I didn't think that was the politically correct nowadays. Yeah. But Finn is a little person, and so the people who are friends with Joe, when they see him, their first reaction is to mock him or to treat him differently. Yeah. And Joe is immediately like, he doesn't care at all about it. He just wants a fucking friend.
Yeah.
And he forces himself into Finn's life just because he's like, well, this is a nice guy.
Because Finn would rather be alone. But it really, Joe is just so fucking bored and he's like, there's this guy who lives literally across from where I'm working right now. I can talk to him. All day. This is going to be great.
Right. And he finds him fascinating too. That's the other thing is like, he's like, this is a cool guy. He's like, my friends aren't cool, but this guy is cool. And like he even mentions to Finn, he's like, there's not a lot of cool people around in this town. There's nothing to do. People are just stupid. And he's like, he just seeks out these interesting people. Like the other one he seeks out is Olivia Harris, played by Patricia Clarkson.
That's right.
Who is an artist, right? Is that what she did?
At least that's what she's spending her time doing. I don't really talk about what she might have done at one time. I don't think they ever really talk about her career. They just talk about David, her husband.
Yeah. And her situation too, which is she is kind of estranged because her son died a couple years ago, and she still hasn't come to terms with that. Like she hasn't accepted that or learned basically to live without her son. And she's kind of out in Newfoundland just to paint and just to like wither away.
Sure.
And along comes Joe, who has been trying very desperately to get her to talk.
Yeah.
And when she almost kills Finn twice by getting distracted on the road, which is hilarious, by the way, because it's like the first time my god, the first time it happens, you're just like, holy shit, like what the hell, lady?
Yeah.
And then the second time she sees him, and in the process of seeing him gets distracted and almost hits him again.
Yeah. She pours coffee on herself that time, hot coffee. So that one's like almost excusable, but yeah, exactly. She is always getting into accidents. She pulls some furniture down on top of herself in Finn's house, and he has to help her.
Antique stuff too.
Yes,
I think.
antique stuff. Yeah, costly. It was an antique ticket box, and she's like, "Oh, these little drawers," and he's like, "No, wait, that doesn't pull." Right on top of her.
So bad. Yeah, she's hilarious. She does not make a good first impression, and it's really funny. No. And it's what's great about this movie is that from there, it follows. It mostly follows Finn, but it follows Joe getting both of these people to break out of their shells that they've built around themselves.
Right.
And, these are the kind of stories that I gravitate to when I'm writing. Like a lot of these shows or stories that I write are about people who have walled themselves off kind of thing. And so this is, the story's right up my fucking alley. I loved how it's told.
I liked it.
I love the comedy from Joe. Like Bobby Cannavale did such a good job at keeping himself like actively vocal in both of their ears to the point where they have no other choice but to be like, all right, I just got to talk to this guy.
I guess you're my friend now. Whatever.
Yeah.
Seem like a good guy. Why not?
And the acting from Peter Dinklage and Patricia Clarkson too is phenomenal because they both do a great job at expressing these people with their own version of grief, their own view on the world.
Right.
So it's like it's heartwarming, but at the same time it's really fucking funny.
It is.
It is. I say heartwarming. It's heart wrenching. Heart wrenching.
My favorite scene, it is pretty heart-wrenching. And what leads to the heart-wrenching part of the movie, the third act or whatever, is how the second act closes, where David, played by John Slattery, he comes in and finds, after Joe and Finn have spent the night, Joe comes walking down the stairs as he walks in, and he's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Finn." And then Joe comes in and is like, "Oh, you're Olivia's ex, aren't you?" And he's like, "Oh, that's great." He's like, "I think Olivia's probably sleeping. We really tore it up last night." And it's like, oh my God, Joe. And then Olivia, and like, he's just in a tank top and his boxers too. And Olivia comes downstairs and she's just wearing, a silk night robe and her pajamas, and so it just paints this hilarious picture that he's walked into, and they do a great shot with the stairs and stuff. I just loved that scene. It was really good.
Yeah, that scene was fucking hilarious, and I didn't realize that was John Slattery. Like, you said that, and I was just like, wait, really?
Yeah.
And I could pull it up, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know. He has such a small role that, I'm going to give myself a pass.
It's that scene, that's it.
It's just it's so funny now. Once you said that, I was like, no fucking way. And I pull it up. I'm like, yeah, that's him. Like, my goodness. Didn't recognize him at all back in 2003.
That can't be too far from the start of Mad Men.
Man, I don't even know anymore. Like, I would say Mad Men was in 2010s, but 2007. So 4 years, yeah. Man, that went for 8 seasons? Jesus.
Yeah. Have you seen it all?
I've seen like 4 of them. And then I stopped watching TV in general.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
I'm getting better at it. I'll try. Maybe I'll come back to it someday.
Maybe.
But no, The Station Agent, that's kind of how I feel about it too, is like, I really love this film. I guess just to go into my closing statements, it's kind of early, but...
Yeah, no, let's do it. We'll do closing statements, and then we'll talk specifically about Michelle Williams.
That's right. And I love it, but it's not going to be one of those films I come back to a lot. So that's the only reason it doesn't get 4 stars, is because the replayability is down a little bit, just because it's a more conventional film. Like, it's a lot of what happens, you can kind of guess from the get-go is what's going to happen. You get your emotional scenes, and I'm only mentioning this because when we talk Manchester by the Sea, I'm going to talk about why I think that film pulls this kind of genre off so much better. But it's because in Manchester by the Sea, it's not conventional. There's a lot of stuff you don't get. You don't get your overly dramatic emotional scene in the third act. You do get it, but it's in a very different delivery than what you're used to. And that's the only thing that holds Station Agent back just a little bit. It still gets 3.5 stars. Like, the performances are fucking great.
Yeah.
The story is good. I really enjoy the story. It's written and directed by Tom McCarthy, who has done basically very little except for Spotlight. He was the writer and director of Spotlight. And like, this, it's so good. This movie is so quiet and so like emotional. Like, fucking yeah, I love it. Check it out.
I did really enjoy this movie. I literally watched it right before we started recording, and so it's kind of hard to reflect and say how much I liked it. But I want to say I really enjoyed it, especially the feeling of friendship from the three of them. And there comes a moment where Olivia gets in trouble, and Joe and Finn come and help her out, and it's just really great, and I love it.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 8.5. I really enjoyed this one.
And now that you say that, that reminds me too that like another thing I love about this film is that I feel like another film, a more conventional film, would bring more romance into this movie.
It was, and this one, there was a little bit that maybe didn't even need to happen.
Right, but they never went full tilt into a romance plot, and I really appreciate that because it's like, you know, most films would be like, all right, now they have sex,
right,
and this film's like, all right, now they fall asleep,
right.
You know, it's like she falls asleep in the chair, he falls asleep in the couch or whatever, like, you know, it doesn't go those routes,
right?
You know,
I think they share the couch, but they're lay in opposite directions.
Right. Yeah. Not completely like romantically.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that. I like that not every film has to be a romance. You know, this film could be just a drama.
Yeah.
Where these people are learning to you know, bust out.
Yeah. To
like,
be friends.
That's nice.
And found family and all that jazz.
Exactly. See the beauty in life.
I also wanted to mention Cleo. She was a little girl who lived nearby.
Oh, yeah, I liked Cleo.
She liked to play on the trains. She's played by Raven Goodwin. And she was a very cute kid.
Very cute.
I don't recognize anything else she's been
in. She worked on Nickelodeon stuff, but I don't remember those shows.
I see. Okay, well, let's talk about Michelle Williams.
A soda pop break first, right?
No, we got to talk about Michelle Williams.
No.
Yeah,
you're right. I forgot the purpose of what we're here for.
So
she and the station agent, she plays a librarian named Emily.
That's right.
And yeah, it's her involvement. You know, it's because a lot of what Finn is suffering from is just like feeling like everybody's staring at him.
Right.
That like everybody is like hell-bent on focusing on the fact that he's different.
Right.
And the very first interaction that he has with Emily, the librarian, is she's carrying some books, just completely does not see him around and gets absolutely startled to the point where she screams in his face.
Yeah, and throws everything
she bumps
in
into
the
him.
air. Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, it's really bad. But like at the same time, you like, I don't know, you like that's a reaction that he probably has to deal with. Like there's a lot of people who don't look down, you know, when they're walking.
Yeah, and so I think like, they did a good job of playing it that she actually just thought she was alone, and just the fact that somebody was there is what scared her. But
she's immediately attracted to him too. Like you can see it that she's like smiling at him, trying to get him to talk, but he is absolutely not a talker.
No,
like he does not. He's like me. He's like me out of the house when I go outside and people like do small talk with me. I'm just like, yeah.
And he just wants to
it's a brick wall.
Check out his book about trains, but he doesn't have a library card.
That's right.
He needs
so sad.
Yeah, he needs some mail, and so he had to wait for his bill to show up.
Yeah, and there's one brief scene where he's walking by the library, and she's like, "Hey, did you get any mail?" And he's like, "No," and just keeps going.
Yeah. And Joe's like, "Hey, man, you're talking up all the girls, man. I'm jealous."
He's just like, "What the fuck, man? You're the boss."
It's ridiculous.
It's good shit. There is one more scene with Michelle though, where they're at a bar. Finn was supposed to be meeting Joe and Joe's father at the bar, but he got stood up. Lo and behold, Emily's there too. And she has just this emotional breakdown.
Yeah.
Where she like, you know, she tells him that she's pregnant with her boyfriend who she doesn't really like. He's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And like, and, you know, she just like completely just unloads on poor Finn, who is just like also feeling like, you know, the world's heavy on his shoulders. Hey, because he's dealing with a lot by this point in the movie, and so it's just like it's a really funny scene, but it's like it's really good acting from Michelle Williams, and that's like, you know, that's what we're talking about with the spotlight. Is like that's her big scene is when she unloads everything, and you know I do like this point of the film. Like I do like her performances. Yeah. I will say. But I don't think she lends as much as she does to this one as she does to Manchester by the Sea.
I can agree.
Yeah.
I think the scene subsequent to that where Finn defends her against Chris. Like he straight up pushed her to the ground, and he got in between them and is like, "Hey, please don't do that." And then and then Chris shoves Finn into the car, and yeah, I was so mad. And
yeah, same.
That what happened after that, I just was like, I got really upset for a moment because I thought that they did a thing to a thing. Yeah, and I don't want to be too script because that apparently the filmmaker wants you to feel those feelings. So when you go and see it, you'll have to feel them like I did.
Right. It's a powerful moment though. I really do like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's take a soda pop break.
Let's
come
do
back
that.
and talk Manchester by the Sea.
It sounds good.
I love you. So are we back? Are you good? Are we good?
Okay, so I thought that Kyle Chandler played Denny Duquette in Grey's Anatomy, but he plays a different character named Dylan Young who has a conversation with Denny, apparently. But Denny Duquette is the guy in the bed in that show. In the hospital bed, that is. But
Gotcha.
But Kyle Chandler is the guy in the hospital bed in this movie. In Manchester.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the flashbacks.
Yeah. For the hospital flashbacks.
To get into Manchester by the Sea, to divulge it, it's going to be basically taking all of the backstory and telling you that up front. So that's like sprinkled in throughout the movie. You get in little bits and pieces, but
it was a non-linear story for sure. Non-linear.
Yeah.
Non-linear.
Non-linear. Non-linear. Yeah, it's a beautiful story too. You got Lee Chandler, played by Casey Affleck, who accidentally caused the death of his 3 kids. He was married to his wife Randy, played by Michelle Williams, and he was drunk after a party one day.
Yeah.
He put on a fire to warm up the house because otherwise, if he had turned on the unit to warm up the house, it would have fucked up with his wife's allergies. So he put a fire on instead. He just forgot to put the barrier, the liner or whatever, the divider. Screen, thank you. He forgot to close that. And then he went to go get more beer because he didn't have beer. And a log must have rolled out, caught the house on fire, and killed his kids. The firefighters were able to rescue Randy, though. But you cut forward, like 4 or 5 years or whatever, to when his brother dies. His brother, Patrick Chandler, or sorry, not Patrick, Joe Chandler, played by Kyle Chandler.
He's got some.
Why they didn't just call him Kyle?
He has some chronic heart disease kind of thing. I don't remember what they call it exactly.
Congenital heart failure or something like that.
Well, yeah. Anyhow, I think that's what
I'll probably have that.
You think so? Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't treat my heart that nicely at all. I know that. I need to treat it better.
I eat a lot of cheese, buddy.
I keep telling them I'm going to try harder. I am. I'm sorry. I'll promise. One day I'll eat a blueberry. I will.
I promise. One day I'll do some exercise outside of work.
I do exercise, so I got that going for me, which is nice.
Leg up on me then.
Yeah. But sadly, Joe's
Dr. Mike is
time
yelling
runs
at
out.
us. Dr. Mike is yelling at us across the internet right now.
But unfortunately, Joe passes away. Brother Joe, played by Kyle Chandler again, and Casey Affleck, Lee Chandler, he goes out there to take care of Joe's son, Patrick Chandler, played by Lucas Hedges, who is 16, in the prime of his life, dating 2-3 women maybe.
Oh my god, this kid's crazy.
Yeah, going crazy in high school. And
can you maybe just not mention that? If it comes up, Why would it come up? Can you just not say? Can you just say
don't
that
tell
you won't tell them?
Yeah, where their daughter slept in the house.
Yeah.
Where, it's that's the other thing. The parents in this movie are just so lackadaisical. Just like, haha, they're having sex, but at least we know they're here, right?
yeah. That was
Just so-
whose character was that? Her name was like Megan, I think. But I
Oh man,
trying
I
to
don't
remember the
remember. It was the
actor's
mom.
name.
It was the mom of one of.
Yeah.
I think it was Heather Burns as Jill. I think it
Oh,
was
you're
Sandy's
right.
mother.
You're right. Jill. I
Yeah,
don't know why I thought it was
because
Megan.
Patrick wants to have sex with Sandy, and so they ask Casey Affleck to be like, hey, can you just talk to the mom down there for like 10 to 30 minutes? And he's like, okay, I guess. And he's not good at small talk at all.
And she's
But
like,
also, it's
she
like-
comes up and interrupts them. It is like, hey,
Yeah, she can't do it.
this guy has nothing to say. I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, it's also like it's devastating because you look at what the subject of choice for her conversation was all about the kids.
Yeah.
And all that Casey Affleck is dealing with throughout this entire movie is the guilt he feels at having killed his own kids and not being... Because he finds out through the reading of his brother's will that he is the guardian of this 16-year-old child now. And he's terrified. He can't... And he doesn't know how to vocalize it either. A huge theme of this film is, that stonewall masculinity where it's like you can't show, you display your emotions. All the men in this film just do not want to cry in front of each other. They don't want to show any kind of pain.
George is pretty good with it. George, who must be like Joe's best friend or something. He's played by C.J. Wilson. He's pretty more willing to cry than the rest of them.
Not so much though. Even in that opening hospital scene, he's doing everything he can to not cry.
Yeah.
And he just, he breaks down. And when he does break down, he immediately is like pinches himself. Yeah, he like hits himself a bit, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm so." He like stands himself up, and he's just like, he's trying to stonewall it again. Like that's just all the men in this whole movie is like
hate
that.
It actually.
I mean I do too, but I think that's like the message they're trying to send across is like, because Casey Affleck's character is so confined within himself because of this.
He has
he has no one to express to. Yeah. And like he just doesn't know at all how to talk to anybody or how to let anyone in. And when everybody tries to get in, it just terrifies him. And because there's a very beautiful moment where Randy, his now ex-wife, she comes, she finds him on a walk, because he's in the same area as her now that he's back in Manchester taking care of this kid. And she apologizes to him because after their kids had died, she yelled at him. She treated him horribly. Mm-hmm. She said terrible things that she now no longer means. And she's trying to open up to him, and she's telling him, she's like, there's one line where she's just saying like something along the lines of like, just don't die, just like don't lay down and die kind of thing. And it's so sad. It's so heart-wrenching to watch like Casey Affleck just like withdraw so much into himself in that scene and try to get away because somebody's trying to get in and help.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have that ability to seek help.
There's a lot of no thank yous.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say that I connect a lot with this movie because as a non-binary individual becoming more public with that identity, it's that's one of the bigger things I struggle with is with my emotions, with displaying emotion.
Right.
And I do lock up a lot and like withdraw within myself. Nowhere near as bad as Casey Anthony. Don't worry, or Casey Affleck. I mean, don't worry.
Casey Anthony.
Oof, that's a bad Freudian slip right there for the subject of this film.
Yeah.
Jesus. But what I'm saying though is just like I really do like I can see myself in Casey's character and Lee Chandler. and it's heart-wrenching, and at the same time, you know, it does kind of like make you feel, I don't know, more like I need to go out there and, you know, and live. You know, I can't lock up like this guy is. And so it's like there's so many good messages here that it's so much weight, emotional weight, that it is really hard to watch, though.
Yeah, it is. And then, you know, just kind of like the culture that these guys have too, like this being in one of the flashback scenes. Like maybe it's not in one of the flashback scenes. I can't remember, but they're just like punching each other and calling each other the R word over and over again in one scene. And I'm come on, guys! Like, it wasn't even that long ago. Like, just
it's very like almost Boston, like with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Oh yeah,
you know, and Matt Damon was
a Massachusetts town, I think.
Yeah, Manchester. But like, and Matt Damon was also a producer on it, so it's like it is a very Boston. It has a lot of that Boston feel, but just a very colder Boston feel than say like.
Well, yeah, they did it in the winter.
Good Will Hunting or something. I know. That's true.
In fact, that's one of the big things with Patrick. Who played the main Patrick again? The 16-year-old.
Lucas Hedges.
There we go. Thank you. Anyways, fuck, I lost track of what I was gonna say. Do you remember?
Because he in the winter he didn't have a coat.
Yes. No, it wasn't about him not having a coat. The big thing though that Patrick is concerned with is that they're holding off the burial for a couple months so that the ground can thaw in the spring. Oof. And he just hates the idea of his dad being stuck in that freezer. And he keeps on trying to get his uncle to do something about it, being Lee.
Or to just even open up about it.
Right, yeah. And the whole thing is about not being able to cope. And
that's one of like
but
the
also
harder
about
scenes
being
too, is
about being honest.
Yeah, and that's one of the harder scenes too, is when Patrick, the 16-year-old, when he like has that breakdown, when he like it fully hits him that his father's dead, that he's in a freezer like somewhere, and you know he's just like sobbing, and Lee, Casey Affleck's character, has no idea how to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like, what's wrong? He's just like, my dad's in a freezer. And he's just like, okay, like, do you need me to take you to the hospital? Because, like, you can't have a breakdown every time you look in a freezer. Right. You know, he's just like, he doesn't know how to deal with it. It's so sad. And it's like, it's really heart-wrenching because, like, Lee's only acting that way so that he doesn't have to open up. Like, it's just another wall that he's throwing up. And it's so hard to watch, and so it's a good moment. It really is a good scene.
I did think that scene was also had some sweetness to it, though. Like, like he does break the kid's door down, but only because. But like you find out, not too long before or after that. After he confessed to the police what happened, and they were like, well, you didn't commit a crime. I mean, it sucks, man, and we're really sorry, but you did it. It was a mistake. He does try to kill himself with one of the police's guns. So I read that scene as him being... he just really didn't want Patrick to do that to himself if that was what was going to happen. That's where I read it. But yeah, he does not know how to operate in most social situations.
And I like that viewpoint. That does make it a little nicer.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much of that though, where it's just like the emotion. Like, I don't know, Casey Affleck is so goddamn good in this movie. Mm-hmm. Like I said it before we recorded, I think, but like this is one of the best performances I've ever seen. Like, just in general.
Yeah, it's a really good performance. And you know what? I think Casey Affleck is pretty underrated. Have you ever seen, I don't remember the full title, but The Coward Who Killed Jesse James?
Oh yeah.
I think that is a very interesting presentation that movie has, but I think he is very good in it.
I can't remember what that title is, and now I'm just stuck on it. It's like The Coward, really Robert Ford.
Yeah.
That assassinated Jesse James or something like that.
I don't know. It's long. Longer than it needed to be.
Need to know.
Secret review.
The assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Right. Okay.
God damn. Yeah.
So
yeah, Casey Affleck's a damn good actor, but like this was one of the best performances I've ever seen. Like it's so emotional and he carries it all. And then like I was saying with I guess just to lead in the closing statements, like I was saying with The Station Agent, you get that big emotional scene where Olivia just like blows up on Peter Dinklage's character.
Right.
And and you have all these emotions that are laid bare and everything, and it wraps itself up. And then you continue on with the bar scene with Peter Dinklage's character, and it's just like, it just builds and builds. Whereas here, you feel like you're going to have those scenes. You feel like you're finally going to see Lee just unload on somebody and explain to them just what he's going through. You think you're going to have that emotional breakthrough, but it just never comes. He when we do see it, it's silent. He's crying. There's music playing. That's all you can hear. But it's like a montage scene where it just shows him explaining to who are the two friends, George. George and his wife, whatever.
Oh, I'm not sure what his wife. It might be Sharon.
Yeah, it might be Sharon. But like he's explaining to them what's going on, which is that he can't be in this city where he where he lived with his kids, with his wife.
He can't even get a job.
His life was happy.
Because
nobody. I mean, a lot of people don't want him. Yeah.
Yeah, and that scene was sad too. It's like, oh, he's got a reputation now, and maybe Michelle Williams' character had a hand in that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And and again, like she obviously and clearly doesn't mean it,
right?
But like anymore, that is,
yeah.
Obviously, when it happened, of course she meant it. Like it's such a horribly traumatic thing. But no, like I really I love this movie. Like to go into closing statements, like it's a perfect film in that it's unconventional at times. It really does it keeps me interested. It's 2 hours long. Like it's really fucking long. And it's hard throughout because there's so much misery that hangs over the film.
Yeah. That,
it is a hard recommend because it is a very emotional and kind of deeply traumatic film. And then there's one dream scene with Casey Affleck and the kids.
Yeah, that was sad.
Where it's sad and it really makes you see, the nightmares he's dealing with, what he's going through. And it's like a peek at Shutter Island, but without the horror,
Right.
And it's so good. Like, I really do love this movie and I give it 4 stars. It's just everything about it it hits. It really does.
I really did enjoy the movie, but there's very, very little levity, if any, in this film. If you get any of it, it's true. Through Patrick's teenage shenanigans. But that's honestly...
He's a really good comedic relief at times.
Yeah, sometimes. But it's very light. I mean, he's obviously in grieving himself. And there's a lot of really sad scenes with him. But I don't know. I mean, it gets a full face, that's for sure. But I don't count it among my favorites. Maybe it's just a little too sad. Yeah.
That's fair. That is totally fair. Because that makes it that's the hardest part about recommending this film. Whereas with Station Agent, that has some heartwarming moments. That one... I feel like you walk away from that movie feeling happier. Right. And this one you kind of walk away just being like, oof.
Yeah, you definitely feel sad after this movie. Yeah. And, it's a good film, though, and we need films that, drive us towards those emotions.
Yeah, tragedies are good.
Tragedies are good. I enjoy good tragedy.
It's my favorite.
I was not. I don't know. It's not really something that you suspect in this style of movie to be 100% a tragedy. There's usually some sort of upside, and there is like a compromise that Lee and Patrick come to, and that is nice. But the fact is, like, you still leave off with the main character being like, I can't do this. I can't grow past this.
Yeah. Yeah. And that scene is so just tear-jerking. Like, I'm immediately crying when he says what he says in that scene. Like, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Like,
it is. It is.
But let's talk Michelle Williams in this film.
Yes, indeed. She plays Randy.
Ex-wife Randy. Yeah. And you get to see before and after the tragedy, and you know, so you get like two different versions of Randy, of Michelle Williams acting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's super fucking amazing
it's
in this.
Pretty good. Yeah, she's
Because I mean, it's
like I said, it's really only 3 scenes that she gets to talk in, but the first one does a great job of setting up her character, and the love and tension between her and Casey's character. You get that all established in the one thing, with her just sitting in the bed being all stuffed up because she has fucked up sinuses.
Allergies.
I don't know. There might be something wrong with the house that they had. Who knows? So... Yeah, and then he also is still trying to have
all of the friends.
Yeah, she's trying to have. He's trying to have sex with her though, and she's like, "Get the fuck off of me!"
yeah. She's like, "Do you not see the condition I'm in right now? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?" And then the next scene you have is right before the accidental burning of the house, where you have Casey Affleck and his friends are down in the basement having a good time, and she's trying to go to bed because it's 2 a.m. So she just like,
and the kids are too,
yells at them.
Yeah, and
it's a real scene. It's a very real scene because it's just a wife yelling at the husband's friends to go the fuck home. Like,
remember
it's like
when that happened to us in our apartment with our friend who was our roommate. I just don't want to name names, but they popped out of there. It's like, I have a test in the morning. And we're like, oh, we're so sorry, man. Like, hey, we didn't think it was that late. We're sorry.
Yeah. We'll
it was like
we'll
the
disperse.
the first time we had those people over.
It was so bad. Yeah. But I mean, like, it's a real moment though. Like, I do get where they're coming from, and I get where Michelle Williams' character's coming from, and like, you get a nice moment too at the end once the friends leave, where she clearly shows that she's not actually pissed off at Casey. She's just like, you fucking goober, like, you damn drunk asshole, and like, it's nice. And then you get to see her in the far future, 5 years later, where she's moved on. She's with another man. She's about to have another kid. And, and she's trying desperately to reach her ex-husband, whom she still loves. It's just like all those harsh feelings she felt in the moment have, dissipated as time has gone on.
Right.
But whereas she has moved on, not like specifically just moved on. That's not like, it sounds so finale.
Yeah, moved. She says that she's still heartbroken in that monologue that she has. She's just still living. She's just trying to have a life.
Yeah, and whereas he's not. He's like shriveled up and she's trying to bloom. And it's like, I would choose this movie in regards to the Michelle Williams spotlight and in regards to the genre SmackDown as a psychological drama. Like, either way you want to look at this film, I choose Manchester by the Sea. Mainly because, like, if in regards to Michelle Williams acting, it's much stronger and more prevalent to the plot.
I 100% give
Manchester by the Sea.
Give that to you on the basis of Michelle Williams. I do think that this is a much more poignant movie than the other one, but on a personal level, I enjoyed the other one more.
Yeah.
But, that's not exactly what we're doing in this episode, so I don't have to say which one's better. I just can say that Michelle Williams did a better job in Manchester by the Sea. There you go.
That's fair.
It's not that she did a bad job in the station.
Right.
It's a completely different character, but her character had a much more impact on the characters in this story, I think.
Manchester, yeah. I agree with you. And also, I will say that I do think Manchester is the better film. It's just far sadder, and that's what weighs it down. Yeah, is that it's incredibly sad. But I just think overall, it's such a beautiful, perfect story. Yeah, it's well captured by Kenneth Lonergan, who's the writer and director, who also has not done much. He was the co-writer on Gangs of New York, and that was about it that I knew of. Wow. Crazy how both of these directors, they wrote and directed these films, and they've done so very little, but they're both really good films that really hit well.
Yeah, they're both good films. I will give it that 100%.
They slap, as the kids say.
Yeah, I think I can recommend both of them, but with the trigger warning that both of them do have some. They both contain depictions of suicide in one form or another. So I know that's a big deal for some people. But it's not like a graphic moment or anything like that.
No, yeah. And also just trigger warning in general for if movies that are steeped in misery and depression,
right? Yeah,
bother you. Both of these films have that.
Yeah, but they're good.
It's just really. Yeah, it's just one tries to make you laugh and the other one just tries to make you cry. And, Yeah.
So, I think Sweet Home Alabama might have been better with Michelle Williams.
She was in that?
No, I said it would have been better.
Oh, it would have been.
Yeah.
Instead of, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we should just watch Dawson's Creek. We should just do it.
All right. I'll get right on that. How many seasons?
I think that it's 6, maybe 8.
Okay, that's doable. That's not 12, maybe 15. So
we'll find out here. Dawson's Creek, 18 seasons. No, just
kidding. Jesus.
But they were long seasons, so 128 episodes.
Oh, Jesus. Well, it's doable.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I'm done. Well, we can play it that way.
It'd take me forever, man. I'm just getting back into watching Doctor Who on a regular basis.
Yeah. We've been watching Jodie again. I think it might be my second time watching Jodie this year. Her nice. Season. But when I went to go watch it, not her season, her series.
Yeah.
She's got 3 of them, I guess, and then specials. So anyways, we're watching that, and I might go watch some of that right now. That sounds good. Or maybe the next week's movies, because who has the time?
Gotta get on that too. I know, right? Well, thanks though for all of you who has taken the time to join us here today.
That's right.
Because we love you so much, and head on down to patreon.com/greenfaceless. Check out the subscription tiers, yada, ad placement. Boom.
You did it. And if you do it, if what they said, then you can participate in the potato pick next month. We'd love to see you there. Okay.
Yes, more options, please. More options, more voters. We need. Come on down.
And also, money, please.
Oh, Jesus. Well, thanks, guys. Love you all. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leon. Safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of Fiction Works 19. Are you a fan of the show? Feel free to contact us at greenandfacelessfans@gmail.com or visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/greenandfaceless.
Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.